With all the rain that we've been having lately, I find it's really easy to spot the nice green sidewalk moss. So, with only three or four of my neighbors threatening to call the police, I was able to collect all of this nice moss that you see here. So, for now, I've put the moss into this spare pot that I have kicking around. I'll find a use for it eventually, but for now, it makes a nice little home for the moss. I still need to, weed the moss. There's little bits of grass and everything stuck in there. But eventually, if we keep on watering this with rainwater, I'm hoping it'll all grow and I'll get a real nice sheet of moss that I can use on other pots eventually. So this is my Chinese elm. I've only had it about 2 weeks. I picked it up from Tropical Expressions 2 weeks ago with James, and I was really excited to finally have a Chinese elm. I've always wanted one, and I did a little bit of pruning on it. Tried to get some of the little bit of inverse taper, a couple of really strange branches, growing backwards, things like that. And I did put a little wire here and there. But I didn't want to do too much because there were some branches where a Hail Mary cut would have been required because there was no leaves or anything like that. So 2 weeks later, here we go. Lots of back budding. I'm just amazed. I've never had a tree that has back budded so profusely before. It's just, I just can't believe all the little leaves that are there. So I decided that since everything is growing so well under the grow lights, let's go ahead and give it another little trim. So since it's a pre-bonsai, I haven't had a chance to really see the roots. So I wasn't sure 100% what would be the front. So I really couldn't commit to exactly what to do in the pruning up top. I just knew I wanted to clean it up a little bit. So I started to chop off anything obvious, anywhere where the new growth or the growth was a little bit long. Now that there were some new buds, I could chop back where I had a bud, try to get some better ramification, get rid of some of the weird stuff that was starting to bother me. But the more and more that I worked on the tree, the more faults or things that bothered me started to stick out. Now here's where I make a mistake. I was so excited cutting off the branches. I actually cut off the thinner one when I meant to actually cut off the thicker one. But you got to work with what you've done and continue on. And my hat's off to the other bonsai YouTubers out there, because I find it extremely difficult to try and, look through the lens and do these precise cuts. So here you can see the carnage. Uh, what is the result of all that pruning? And I've ended up actually much happier. It's going to take a little bit of time to really progress, but the way this thing grows and backbuds, I'm sure it'll be no time before I have some great results. And I'm actually getting closer to that broom style that I actually was hoping to have. So off camera, I just trimmed up a little bit more and just put a little bit of wire to get the branches in the position I was hoping for my broom. And so now I'm going to try and root those cuttings. I've got them. Might as well not go to waste. And maybe I can get some more Chinese elms out of this. So with a fresh snip off the end and removing a couple of extra branches, we can get things ready to strip off some bark on the end. And repeat. And now with everything all pruned up, we're ready to dip it in the rooting hormone powder to hopefully help them root so we can get some growth out of these little cuttings. And just a little bit of rainwater, and our work for today is done.